Hey guys, Loman02, getting ready to do a recorded video session of, well, it's a pre-recorded video, so I am replaying a series of games between myself and player The Sensei, or SenseiRob. The deck we're playing is Azorius. Really, it's Esper, but Azorius Control. It's sort of Esper. It has black in the deck, but the black is solely for the hate cards in the sideboard, so it needs black mana for nothing in the main deck. And I don't know, maybe it throws opponents for a loop or whatever. So this initial hand, this initial 7 is okay. I don't know what I'm playing against. As it turns out, I'm playing against Esper Control by player Sensei here. So, and I don't really... So the pull to Jeskai for me is that you go tempo, and you have like a lot of like really cheap aggressive creatures that you can back them up with counter magic, so you can kind of overrun a deck like this. He has more of a controlling build, which I don't see as much of a pull to because you assume some risk with your mana, and due to how fast you can close the game out by playing it. So we're going for an opt here. I believe we end up seeing a plains on top, and we end up bottoming it. Yeah, and then we end up getting dismiss, which is okay. Find an island here. We end up playing it out because we want to have the ability of Logic Knot, but we also want to have Latinam's Legacy up. We go for an end-step Latinam's Legacy, I believe, finding just a basic island off this. Yeah, we don't want to get like wastelanded into oblivion. And we don't really need a lot of color fixing. He remands us on his end step, which is fine. I don't have anything relevant I can do on my turn, so I pass it back. He goes ahead and plays his mana out, so we can tell now that he is a Jeskai build of some sort. We're bantering about the Underground Sea. I believe it's for flashback on Lingering Souls. We finally resolve our Latinam's Legacy. One thing I didn't think of with that is how bad it would be to get stifled on it. He plays a Pestermite out. We go ahead and just counter this because we don't want to just get mised out by a possible Splinter Twin. I guess we could have just gone for the Dismiss, though, and left the 2-1 in play, but we also don't have a threat, so him having a threat is kind of an issue. So what we end up doing here is going for Mystical Tutor for Entreat the Angels, because we don't have a threat, he does. So I kind of want to put the screws to him and force him to react here, because if we don't do this, then we're going to be in a cycle of reaction to him, because all he has to do is leave up counter magic if he has the 2-2. He ends up playing out a Batterskull here, which is, it's okay. My thinking here is... I have the Treasure Cruise. I'm going to see what I get off of it, and depending on that, I'll determine if I want to attack or block. Find a Disallow, which this is actually a pretty cool draw. So here's what my thinking is. I'm just going to attack with 1, and if he wants to equip up the Trinket Mage, we can disallow it on his turn, leaving him probably down to 1 mana, and in all likelihood resolving our Elsbeth on the following turn. If we draw a land, it allows us to play around days, and we have Brainstorm to kind of look before we leap on it. To see if we can get some more disruption. We go ahead and block here. Brainstorm, don't really find anything interesting. We actually kind of just want to land there. We do keep this Jace, though, and keep the Tundra on top. Go ahead and attack, and just leave our mana up. No, we still have counters for days here. So he goes in Plane Cycles, finds, I believe, a Cycling Land. He cycles it off to find something, I don't know what. Possibly Counter Magic, possibly, a win con. But he already has Batterskull, which is a fine win con. We draw our Tundra for the turn and just keep on attacking. I want to see. All I'm trying to do here is force him to react to me, and he has to. Like he has to make the next move because I have the best threat on the table. So all I have to do now is just sit back and counter his stuff, and eventually I'll win. I let him resolve the Trophy Mage. I figure he's going for Crucible of Worlds or Vidalcan Shackles, but on his mana base, it looks like it's probably going to be Crucible. We just Spell Pierce this. It could have been right to save Spell Pierce to help resolve the Elspeth. We end up not playing the Elspeth here. We just play the Jace out, and he goes ahead and packs it in because we've got him down to 11. I mean, he could try to go for the equip on the Batterskull, but Jace is going to get us a lot of cards. I feel pretty sizably ahead. We could have also gone for Elsbeth, which probably would have been the more ballsy play, but I think leaving up the Disallow and enabling us to get him on his mana and then resolve the Elspeth in the following turn when we have the possibility of drawing into another land so we can hold up Counterspell plus Elspeth at the same time seems the best. So we end up winning that one. Go to Game 2. Game 2 is actually really cool. So I believe, we keep this, lead off on a Myriad Landscape here. With Crucible, it's pretty powerful. Obviously, he's on the play. No turn 2 threat from our opponent, just a tapped land, while a land that he puts into play tapped. We go ahead and play out the fetch land, and figure that we're going to preordain here. Find Tundra, Go ahead and preordain. Keep the planes. Put the artifact land to the bottom. I want as much land as I can get because I feel like he's more controlling than he is tempo. He ends up finding, I believe, the same land we just bottomed. Yeah, Ancient Den. So he has the clock here. But we're about to go way up on mana, which is not a bad deal. He plays on a Signet. I'm not a huge fan of the Signets. Just due to the fact that they're kind of card disadvantage. Yeah, they ramp you a little bit, but I don't know. I'm not a huge fan because you're just down a card when you do it. Go ahead and find 2 islands here. Put the Crucible of Worlds into play. We could have left up Muddle the Mixture, but we don't here. Now, here's what my thinking is. I wanted to save Muddle to protect this because I want to get the Engineered Explosive so I can blow up his Crucible, my Crucible, and one of the 2 mages. And the way we're going to be able to do that is off the Marsh Flats. We'll get a little more value off of the Crucible. So he blows up our Trink. That's okay. We get attacked for 2 again. Well, 4 total. We're getting knocked around a bit. See a Thopter Foundry come into play, which is not good news for us. But we do have the Council's Judgment to answer it. I believe we just find 2 more islands here. Yeah. And we get Wastelanded. It's whatever. Because we were fetching so many basics, it's not as relevant. We end up getting Underground Sea here, which I suppose this is another thing that Underground Sea can do in the deck, because we haven't boarded into any of our black cards here. We go ahead and pop this thing, kill all the Crucibles. We got 3 lands off of it, he got 1. We get attacked on a 3 here, which is a dubiously low life total, but we don't have much choice here. So we go ahead and attempt to resolve our Gideon Jura. I cast a Negate. We go ahead and Muddle the Mixture on this. And he Factor Fictions. We give him 2 counter spells or a bunch of creatures. Creatures don't really bother me because I have a Gideon Jura in play. I go ahead and kill the Flame Tongue Kavu. See Lingering Souls come out. I go ahead and Enlighten Tutor, finding Vidalcan Shackles. It could have been right to find just Back to Basics. In retrospect, it probably would have been a stronger play, because the Gideon kind of already stops this. Now he uses his Nimble Obstructionist to halt the Jace effect. His spirits will have to attack the Gideon, and we do have an active Vidalcan Shackles. We go ahead and steal one of the spirits. He attacks in. I guess he just wants to trade the spirits off. I'm fine with that. That's exactly why I got the Vidalcan Shackles. And Shackles wasn't per se wrong. I just think it looks like he's a very tap-out style deck. This is a big Sphinx's Rev, which is a big deal. Now he's at 8 cards to R2, and sizably up on cards. We draw an island here. We go ahead and draw because we need to find some gas. We keep the Cryptic Command. We opt finding Negate, keep Negate. We go ahead and get rid of the Thopter Foundry because we're going to lose to that card if we don't, because the Sword of the Meek is in the graveyard. And then we get him for an attack here. Just free incremental damage. I don't think he's running haste critters, and if he is, I have the Vidalcan Shackles. So he goes ahead and Cryoplasms, which would kill us. We Cryptic Command, figuring we're probably going to die here. He counterfluxes, we have to allow that to happen. We go ahead and negate the Cryoplasm, and we win the counter battle, down to 3. We draw our Sphinx's Rev, which is pretty cool. We go ahead and cast the Treasure Cruise first, because I actually really want the Sphinx's Rev to resolve more. Put an artifact land into play, and we go ahead and go for the Gusto here. Well, we get a full hand of 7. So, a game of swings, that's for sure. I think I say some joke to him, like Controller. So he plays out the Pestermite. Again, I just don't want to randomly die to this thing, so I just flip it back to his hand. Everything has to attack Gideon this turn, so I guess I wouldn't technically die. But it just doesn't seem worth it to me to allow it to resolve, and I'd like to get a little deeper in the deck. We find Ponder, which is not a bad deal. We go ahead and Ponder first. We want the Brainstorm, we don't want anything else, so we cast Brainstorm here, get rid of our 2 islands, fetch for an island here, and pretty much have a full hand of gas. We just go ahead and take the Spirit with the Sword of the Meek on it, which is pretty marginal, but I mean, it's fine. We know he's going to use his mana up. I'd rather him actually use his mana and trade the spirit with the spirit I just took. That's why I did it. I could have done it during his attack step, but I'd rather eat his mana up. We just continue to plus Gideon. He probably has like a Path to Exile or Swords to Plowshares effect. Doesn't really seem worth it to me to just jam the Gideon in there and lose it for no reason, because Gideon will die to Path or Plow. I allow him to attack here. 1 damage is really not doing anything. This is the point at which the game ends. We take the 2 pile. We've already made our land drop, but we can go back down to 7 cards. Actually, we could play out the Batterskull as well as play the Personal Tutor. Personal Tutor is going to get Entreat the Angels. And then the trick is going to be getting into a fight on his turn. So what I would end up doing, I probably wouldn't cast the Batterskull on. I'd probably actually discard Batterskull here, and then cast Personal Tutor, and then utilize the Complicate to draw a card on his turn and make enough Angels to swing in for lethal against him. That would have fomented a fight, I would expect, but I have numerous counterspells, and all it would take is 4 Angels to do this. So I think it's pretty likely we're going to win here, especially with the Vidalcan Shackles as well, to kind of back our play up. But very interesting and very cool long control games. Had a lot of fun playing them against Sensei. And I hope you guys kind of enjoy this short series on Esper/blue-white control. More so blue-white, but I mean, it does splash black for some very minor things. Mostly the board tech. Alright guys, hope you enjoyed it, and hope I see you on Saturday. Take care.